Welcome to all of you, and great to have you on this conversation where we're discussing all things budget. Well, let's start with the angel tax question. Vinita, why don't you go first? This has been a long-term ask, and from your smile, I can see you're really happy about it.
Yes, I'm very happy and very grateful to the Finance Minister to finally give us the wish that startups have been asking, not just startups, but even venture capitalists, because the 30% angel tax on early stage investing was a big barrier. And I think all of this will result in the startup ecosystem getting a massive boost. Early stage funding is going to go up, I believe, by 20-30%, creating a lot more opportunities for startups and eventually a lot more employment. So a very big green flag from the budget this year, and something that we've been waiting for almost a decade now. And all the startups that I know have gone through that journey of having to deal with income tax officials around angel taxes. And I think this is a big relief.
All right. So the angel tax was a bit of a dark angel tax. Amit, I want to know, of course, your reaction and sort of give us I'm sure you've done a back of the envelope calculation by now. Give us an idea of what the impact is for a startup once this tax is removed.
Look, the taxation was 30% earlier, which is now practically nothing, zero. So the impact is actually huge. And problem was that you have not made money and you'd still had to kind of incur taxes earlier, which probably gets sorted out. You have to, so if you buy a 1 rupee and then the fair market value increases, the tax was being recognized. There were so many files open. I think now everything would be put to rest. So overall, I personally think, from my personal perspective, as well as anybody investing in angel investing in startups, this is going to be a very big boost. Many people who are sitting on the edge to invest would now probably join the bandwagon. It's not just financial, it's also about creating new Bharat 2.0, which will have a big impact with this clarity that has come now on taxation.
It goes on from now, so I don't know if the files that are already open close overnight, but it's hence on. Ashish Tulsian, your response to the angel tax relief, and also, is this coming at a time when there has been a concern that startup funding is drying up, and that's been happening for a while, I think the last 2-3 years or so. So even as private capex is increasing, etc., that whole startup buzz sort of has been dying. Do you think that this is the trigger to revive it?
I think this is definitely a trigger to revive, a really welcome step. But to Amit's point, I think the biggest problem with angel tax was not only the fact that you're paying 30% of the money that you're raising, which you're raising from your equity. So technically, you're paying tax via your equity. But more than that, the problem with angel tax was that it was penalizing startup entrepreneurs from valuing their startup, for its future value, for its potential, where, the tax officer was looking at a fair market valuation basis current asset. And then most of the startups, unlike, Vinita here, most of the startups are tech startups. We don't have assets. We have intellectual property as asset. Amit will agree to this. So it was very difficult to get to that fair market valuation in the eyes of the tax inspector. And hence, people were getting harassed, through this cycle, and then paying a delta of the tax on the money raised. So I think abolishing it is a great step. Startup entrepreneurs are not only going to, have a breath of relief. I think angel investors are just going to, be more, I should say, risk-taking on the startup entrepreneurs now, given that, this is also a declaration that it was a bad, tax practice. And I sincerely hope that Finance Minister also clarifies, I don't know if they have already, whether this will impact the existing open books or, at least startups who raised money between 2016 and 2024. Will it still apply to them? I hope that it gets clarified and no more startups get tax notices. By the way, we were one of the victims of startup tax back in 2016, 17, 18, and it was quite a tyranny.
Okay, so do you see, I'll follow up to Ashish here. I mean, we'll wait for that clarification, but typically such decisions are not made with retrospective effect, right? Because then you lay the parameter. You don't want to do anything with retrospective effect, good or bad. So even if it's good, you might not go back in time and try and fix things.